Hey! Everybody, get in my truck!
Grizzly Gaz is a camping channel on YouTube featuring Gaz going on hiking and camping trips in the UK with his French bulldog Fendi. In a lot of his videos, he goes camping in some pretty extreme conditions and often shows footage of unexpected encounters in the woods. In one upload, Gaz was preparing a steak dinner over his campfire in a secluded patch of UK woodland when someone crept up directly behind him in the dark and asked if he had a light.
Right, we've got steaks on go now. Bit of ribeye. Pot boiling for some mash. And I've got a visitor. Creeped up behind me asking me if I had a light. Me pants. This is Martin anyway. I don't know him, but he's stopping for a steak, so
just some random crate wandering about.
You went round here in a poncho a couple of months ago, were you?
I don't think I was. I could have been.
His name was Martin. His speech was rambling, honestly a little incoherent, the kind of talk that makes it hard to tell if someone is just tired or genuinely not all there. Gaz, to his credit, shared his food with him anyway. Over the meal, it came out that Martin was homeless and had ended up walking alone in these woods that day after drugs had taken apart pretty much everything in his life. At some point, Gaz turned away for a few seconds to chop more wood for the fire. When he turned back, Martin was gone. No goodbye, no sound, nothing left behind. Gaz couldn't shake the worry that Martin might come back later with people he knew, having seen all the expensive camera gear lying around. He packed up and left for the night, but before he did, he left a trail camera strapped to a tree to catch whatever happened after he was gone. When he came back the next morning to retrieve it, the camera was gone too. If an incoherent or unstable stranger breaches your camp perimeter, never turn your back or allow yourself to be distracted by camp chores. Tools, axes, and knives can be instantly turned against you. Actively escort them to the edge of your site, maintain an open defensive posture, and pack up your high-value essentials immediately. If they disappear unannounced, treat it as a scouting phase for a robbery and vacate the area. Gary and Amika are a father-daughter duo from Scotland who post videos about their travels around Europe in their camper van. In March 2023, they uploaded footage from a walk through Tensmuir Forest in northeast Scotland. While they were out walking, Amika told her dad she could hear voices somewhere nearby. They followed the sound to see what it was. What they found wasn't people.
We just stopped to look in these woods. Look at how scary that is. Put the torch on. Here's even one on the ladders.
Oh, there's someone lying on the ground.
It's falling over. Look at the one on the ladders going up the tree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's creepy.
What about the washing line over there to the left? Yeah, there. Keep it there. That is weird, isn't it?
There's one over there that isn't actually a person. There's a doggy
It was a cabin sitting alone in the forest, surrounded by dozens of mannequins dressed up in full costumes. Some lying on the ground, others strapped to ladders running up the surrounding trees like they were climbing. Hanging on the outside of the cabin were paintings, strange and unsettling, that neither of them could really explain. Gary later looked into it and found other channels that had stumbled across the same cabin over the years, but the only real information he could find was that the whole thing had apparently been set up sometime around 2021. Nobody seemed to know why or by who. While they were still processing what they were looking at, a car appeared on a dirt track driving toward where they were standing. Gary got noticeably uneasy, and the two of them slipped into the tree line to stay out of sight until it passed, making their way back to the van without crossing its path. James runs a channel called Under the Weather and is well known for spending nights alone in some of the creepiest forests in the UK. He doesn't typically get spooked easily, but one night in a place locals call Devil's Wood, he ran into something that genuinely threw him off balance. As darkness was closing in, James scrambled to get his campsite ready next to a stream running through the woods.
Hello, welcome back to Under the Weather, live from the Devil's Wood. Now I'm losing daylight and I'm in a very precarious place, so I need to try and get some wood, and for a fire, but As you can see, there's a lot of wetness around. I'm camped right next to a river. Tent's already up because, as I said, losing daylight. Let's show you the wee tent here. The only flat bit of ground is like this little strip here, which runs along this riverbed right in the middle of the Devil's Wood. Let's see if we can get some lights on the go. Yeah, I mean, if you look up, still daylight outside. Right, let's see if we can get some fire going.
The spot looked fine enough, but something about it felt off. Damp, cut off from everything, weirdly quiet apart from the water. While he was cooking dinner, a strange noise cut through the quiet. At first he figured it was just rocks shifting in the current, the kind of thing that happens naturally from the weight of moving water. But the noise started to change. It became less random, more deliberate, like something was doing it on purpose. James called out into the dark. Nothing answered, just his fire popping and the trees moving in the wind. And he pointed his flashlight across the water and caught something.
Right, time to get the shoes off and change a little bit. Hang on. Ow. Hang on. There will be little animals scratching around, you know, but and also it's when you're camping right next to a river, stream, whatever it is, you'll hear rocks going through the night, and your brain will tell you that's someone coming to get you, you know, but it's literally rocks just kind of being pushed down by the weight of the water. So I think, what the hell? Hang on, turn this. I think I just turn this. Hello, is there? Anybody there? Hello? 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 Ah! Oof. What's that?
A figure standing completely still between two trees, dressed entirely in red, watching him in total silence. James froze. When he swung the light back a second later, it was gone. Even though he was seriously freaked out, James left his camp briefly to investigate, half hoping and half dreading another sighting.
Right. I'm gonna go have a look. Hello? Oh, that's again. I don't think I like the look of that thing, whatever that was. God save me. Right, let's see if we can get across the river without falling in. Oh God.
Nothing showed up again. He went back to camp but could hardly sleep. When the sun came up, he packed his things and got out of Devil's Wood, unable to shake the image of that figure in red. If a stranger violates your close physical proximity in remote woods at night and refuses to announce their identity, treat it as an active threat. Do not remain stationary inside a lit campsite where you are perfectly illuminated. Keep your flashlight held away from your body line so an attacker cannot target your central mass. Grab your primary defense gear and maintain a clear line of sight toward your path of retreat. John runs a channel called Lost Lakes, where he posts about his backcountry camping adventures in Canada. In 2018, he uploaded footage taken at around 3:30 a.m. at a remote location west of Chipewyan, Ontario, where there was no cell signal at all. He was jolted awake by the sound of something pacing directly around the outside of his tent.
Well, I am living every solo camper's nightmare right now. There appears to be an animal of some kind pacing around my tent. It's the middle of the night. And then around 3:30, I started to hear this pacing sound. And 45 minutes later, it's still pacing around out there.
Heavy, deliberate footsteps going on without stopping for over 45 minutes straight. Given that he was camping in what's known as the black bear capital of the world, the odds were pretty high that he had something large outside. To keep himself sane, he kept his defensive gear close: a hatchet, bear spray, and an air horn. At one point, he mentioned his car was parked right outside his tent, but realized in a moment of panic that he couldn't find his keys, having left them sitting exposed inside the vehicle. In the end, he made it through the night safely without ever finding out what exactly was pacing around him. When backcountry camping in heavy apex predator territory, never separate yourself from your vehicle keys or primary defense elements. Keep your keys secured in the exact same pocket inside your tent every night. If a large animal begins continuously pacing your tent, do not make sudden movements that rustle the nylon. Prepare your bear spray, wait for a close approach, and deploy a short blast of an air horn to break the animal's curiosity. A group of teenagers were hanging out in a dense forest at night when a sound came out of the trees that none of them could place. A scream, raw and almost human, immediately followed by something else. Heavy, rhythmic banging against the trunks around them, not once but repeated, violent enough that it had to be taking real physical force to produce.
I hear it? Get Trevor. Austin, get the light.
Hey!
That was not an elk. Where's that coming from? Get my keys. Oh, get ready.
Whatever was making that noise wasn't trying to hide. The group didn't stick around to figure out what animal could be capable of that level of impact. They scrambled for the truck, got in, and got out of there. Loud, aggressive physical impact against trees paired with vocal screaming is a universal territorial dominance display used to trigger a flight response. If you encounter aggressive, structural tree banging close to your position, do not run blindly in a straight line, as this can trigger a predatory pursuit reflex. Gather your group into a tight formation, present a loud and unified vocal front, keep your defensive tools drawn, and execute a structured, backwards withdrawal toward your vehicle.